Welcome back to Builds Not Projects. This week we're going to be on the trike because we're waiting for some parts to show up for the mower. So one thing we want to try to get done in this video is we're going to build an air box to use a standard like 3-inch inlet car filter. This one is a oiled foam inside of this mesh, so it's just like a traditional oiled foam filter. I had that on my V8 swapped Toyota and it flowed perfectly fine for that, so I'm sure it could handle this 600 cc's of Fury. And then this one is just another style of filter that we have as well. So one of the two is going to get put on here, hopefully, so we'll build some tubes and such for that. We're also going to pull the clutch off this thing to start with and get it all cleaned up, put back together, because it was very rusted and not in the best shape. Alright, so we got the clutch off of the trike and basically going to start disassembling it. I already pulled out the bolts that hold the cover on. What you want to do is you leave 4 of them tight. In this case, take 2 out. I replace them with these carriage bolts to use as a piece of all thread because I don't have any all thread that would work, and this way if I need to hold on to it to keep it tight while I unthread the nut, I can. So put those on, just finger tighten those down, take the bolts out, and then you can slowly just work your way off with these going back and forth, and that way as the cover comes off, the spring doesn't just shoot the thing off and blow your face off. So this is a good way to do it. I also lubed up around the bushing there because this thing was so rusty. So I lubed it up, threw it in these blocks of wood, beat on it with a hammer a little bit to get it to go back, and then lubed it all up really good. So hopefully this comes apart in a decent manner and I don't have to beat on it a bunch with a hammer.
Well, so much for it coming apart easily.
Yeah, it's a little rusty. This 3-fork piece here is threaded on to the shaft that's part of the back or the bottom side, the inside edge of the clutch. And it threads on there. I don't have the special tool to get that off, and smacking it with a hammer hasn't seemed to do the trick. So what I'm going to opt to do instead of taking all of this apart is I'll take this to work and sandblast in from all of the sides that I can get to, sandblast this upper shaft, just sandblast everything I can get to, slide it back the other way, all the way. Of course it's stuck right now because of the rust and stuff, but go back that way, sandblast all that, and just keep doing that until I get it all cleaned up. So next time you see this thing, it'll be all sandblasted up. So we're down here at work for me. I'm grabbing some of this exhaust tubing. This is 1 7/8. This is 3-inch. These will get turned into our intake plenum. You may recognize this bench from one of my previous videos where I blew up my differential on my Toyota. It got rebuilt right here. This piece of 3-inch exhaust pipe is going to become the bulk log portion of the intake, and then I'm going to have the runners come up into this. So I was just going to try to hold this up in here, kind of get a measurement for how long I need to cut the longer pieces of the pie cut bottoms down here, and then once I get those kind of mocked up, this pipe is going to end up running forward up into here somewhere, and then that way we can get cold, fresh, clean air from kind of out in front of the tire-ish, hopefully, kind of by the back of your like shoulder there. So this pipe is going to have to get cut for the 90, but as it gets pie cut, I'll kind of rotate it up to bring it up just a little bit more. And then that way I can keep this as low and away from the exhaust as possible, because I don't really think a bunch of hot exhaust on a metal intake. You know, it's a snowmobile engine. They're made to run in the cold weather, as many people pointed out. So yeah, we're going to try to get this thing as cool of air as possible. So we got the start of the intake coming along nicely. I'm running these at an angle just because the airflow should be a little more efficient that way, instead of having them straight up and down, where it would have to make a 90-degree corner to go down the tubes. It seems like it should flow a little better that way. Not like it probably really matters, but it also looks cooler this way. So they're going to be slanted a little bit, and then this piece of tube will end up mounting on top of them, but a little lower. So these are extra long right now, just to make it easier to work with them. So they'll get cut down. This will get hole sawed out for the 3 of them to go into, and then the rest of it will get built as well. So now we can move on to getting this thing hole sawed out and kind of figure out where it needs to be. So we're going to take a quick break from doing the intake to put the clutch back together, because I got it all sandblasted up, so it actually comes apart, and it actually slides. So yeah, we're gonna slap the spring back in this thing, put it back together, and then we can throw it back on. Well, now that the clutch is back on, hopefully it will actually work and engage properly and everything now that it's free moving again. Well, I got the cover to go over the secondary clutch there, so we can slap it on quick, and then all that'll be back together, and then we can get back on the intake. We made a big flute.
Very nice.
We got the holes cut out in this thing, and all of the little pie pieces cut out to make the corner here, so they'll kind of come around like this and then kind of go up a little bit as well to elevate it, and then run forward to a piece of pipe, and then the air filter is going to mount somewhere up in here, kind of probably try to get it up above the radiator a little bit, and then eventually it'll probably have a guard and stuff to keep the heat off of those, and then try to guard it from as much dirt as possible. We're gonna stop this video here because I don't have a die grinder here to clean up the slag from cutting those with the torch, so I don't want to weld it without cleaning those out of there. Next video on this thing, we'll be finishing up this intake, as well as getting a fan mounted, building a battery tray, getting all that stuff wired in, and then it'll be ready for test driving. So make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you already haven't, and stay tuned for the next video.